Hello everybody, my name is Andre. Today we're actually going to be taking apart a Switch Pro controller. So as you guys can see here, this guy is a request that I've been getting quite a bit of, so I guess let's dive into that, shall we? So first things first, you don't necessarily need a mat like I got. You can use anything, just make sure that there's no static on it. That's the biggest thing with any electronics. Also make sure that you're statically discharged, which means that you're not going to be having any, the touch, and then there's the electric shocks sort of aspect. So to get started, we're going to be starting, the only bit you're going to need is the P00. I am using an iFixit toolkit. Hashtag wish they would sponsor me, but I'm just starting out on YouTube, so we'll see how this ends up going. So first thing we need to start doing is removing these two handles over here. So we got one screw and two screws. So if we can actually zoom into the camera, there you go. So you have one screw right in the center just like that. All right, so we're gonna dive into those. And the good thing about this is that it's actually a really easy thing to take apart. Note, this is the official Switch Pro controller, not the third party, though I will be doing some third-party ones later on. All right, so next we have 4 screws to take this back sort of housing casing off. I don't know what exactly to call it, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4. They're silver in color, same size bit. So we're gonna take those off right now. Now what I like to do, especially with the iFixit toolkit, is since it's organized into a bit of a grid, it helps keep track of parts. It also helps having a little magnet around too, which I do also have as well. All right, so now that we have those 4 screws out, this back casing comes straight out just like that. I should actually clean that off myself. Hey, I'm getting myself more work to do. Oh well. All right, so next thing we're gonna end up doing is removing the battery. Now, why remove the battery? Because as with any electronic, it has a tendency to try and start up. But biggest thing you wanna check for the battery, make sure it's flat. You can actually feel if it's a bit expanded. This one's perfectly fine, as I just swapped this out not too long ago. So yeah, we have 5 screws to remove. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to remove. And we could get the casing off completely. Now, one thing I will mention about the casing is you're gonna find, if you're using the same toolkit as me, which I believe is it's the largest one that they have that's on before the professional. You're gonna find you're not gonna be able to get these 2 screws over here. That's because their bit's not quite long enough. So I actually do have another screwdriver that I will be using to get this back screw over here. All right, so that is 5. Now, the way that I like taking this apart is, you notice how there's a little bit of a seam? There's 2 separate halves. So you're gonna kind of pinch with your fingernails and lift it off like so.
Just go to the back bit.
And then same on the other side, and this guy comes right off. The one thing you do want to be careful about is a little tab over there. As you can see, that's a ribbon cable. It's very important as it controls the upper half. So you want to flip the tab up where the black part is. So yeah, flip it up and then you pull the ribbon cable out. Do not pull it out, as you will regret doing that. All right, so going into the actual switch controller itself. My lighting sucks. These guys pull straight out. If you actually zoom into there, oh, it's not gonna do it. Okay, but anyways, they only fit on one way, so you'll find that you can push them straight down and they will do just exactly that. All right, so to remove the board, if you're gonna be doing a control stick replacement, now keep in mind, if you're doing cleaning, this is as far as you need to go. You don't really need to go too much further, because you can take a can of compressed air, clean this out. Mine was sticking, but that's actually because of all the dust and stuff over here, and also the casing as well. So I cleaned that up, you know, bit of compressed air, brush, actually a toothbrush that I bought from the dollar store, and that worked out pretty well. But sometimes you have to actually replace the control stick, which I have on this particular unit a few times. So if you do want to end up going that route, yeah, I guess we'll take it the rest of the way apart, get the board out so that I can actually show you how to do that. So as far as the board's concerned, we have a couple more screws that we need to take out. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. And I believe that's it for the board. All right, so when you actually have the screws out, first thing you want to do is remove this white piece over here. And this guy pops straight out just like that. You can use a screwdriver, small pry bar, but basically you have a little LED rail. So the LED shines right through here, and then it lights up the rails. So that's why you have the flicking lights, or there's a LED on each one of them on the board. Next, we're gonna end up taking the board out, which I forgot to mention that there's the 2 upper screws as well, which need to come out. Did I forget one? All right, so be very careful when you take the board out, because you have the 2 wires. So you have this guy over here, which controls the vibration motor for the right side, and then you have that guy right over there, which controls the vibration motor for the left side. And then there's also the other stuff there too. So this is really all you need to get to take the entire thing apart, really. Because for me, what I'm going to be doing eventually, and I'll make another video for this, is replacing the left control stick, which actually is the same part number as the Wii U. So that's kind of convenient. So I will make a separate video with that, showcasing how to do that. But anyways, let's put it all back together. All right. So to put it back together, you notice how there's a little tab on top of the USB-C port. You want to make sure that that is lined up properly. So you kind of want to meander it into a bit of an angle, and then it just slides into place. Now there should be kind of like a little click like you just heard. I don't know if that actually caught on the video. I'll check that in post. But there is actually a bit of an audible click to let you know that it is set properly. And then watch this bottom screw over here. So this guy right where my screwdriver is, because that has to be flush when you actually get to putting the screws in. Now, one common practice that I hear debated quite a bit on many different videos is how tight is too tight. And some people end up saying, well, you have to torque them to a certain amount and recommend getting a torque wrench. I'm like, you know, as soon as you, like, if you're watching me actually do this, you'll see that I'm not really putting a whole lot of pressure behind it. I am basically going until I feel like I hit something. So as soon as you have to start applying pressure, stop. So turn, it's easy, and then you feel it bite, okay, stop right there. You're good, sort of aspect. Now, one of the big important things when you're taking the entire board out, and I'm just gonna put the 2 screws in there in a second, and I will show you. All right, so biggest thing you wanna end up making sure. So this button right here is your sync button. You know when you're trying to switch it to, put it into another switch, you press that button and then it basically tries to search for a switch. This is very important that this is lined up. So you wanna make sure that it clicks when you push the button. Because otherwise, the only way that you'd be able to pair up stuff is through the USB-C port at the very top. So next up, we take the upper half of this guy, and we can join it with the upper portion. Actually, I should probably put the actual sticks on. They only fit one way, so you don't need to worry about putting it on the wrong way. There's literally only the one way to do it. Now, I actually did this in reverse. Normally I go the other way, but I don't know. I felt like being adventurous in this video, so we're going the other direction. But same basic idea. So ribbon cables are kind of tough because you want to make sure that they're nice and flush and properly lined up. I wish there was a way I could show this better on video, but what I like to do is make sure it's going in straight, push it down a tad, and then move the bumper. So yeah, make sure it's straight. And once we get the battery on, we will test it to make sure all the face buttons work. So when I'm talking about face buttons, the ones that are actually controlled via that. So we got the X, Y, B, A. We got plus, home, capture, minus, and that's actually about it. All the rest are controlled via the other board. There's technically 3 separate boards in here. You got the auxiliary buttons, you got the control sticks and main circuitry, and then you got the D-pad board, which is its own board. Don't ask why they made it like that. That's just how they designed it. So anyways, next up, we're gonna be taking care of those black screws. Now there is a little bit of a tab on the battery itself that goes up. Battery will only fit in one way. But yeah, you see how the buttons are making the thing go back and forth? That's what you want to see. So you want to actually test each individual button to make sure we get the flashing digits like this, which is very important. All right, so lastly, we have this black clear plastic casing, which goes on the back. That sits like so. Put the silver screws in there. Now you don't have to, but I like going kind of diagonals. So you have one over here, next you go one over here, or however. I don't like putting on the same side just to make sure everything's all nice and level. That's just a personal preference from being a mechanics background. Same with that, you kind of torque a tire. So the nice thing about these handles is they can only fit on one way. You can't reverse them. As you can see, I'm trying to put it on the wrong way. It doesn't line up properly. So this one is meant for this side. Or the other way around. I'm just trying to put it on wrong. The screw kind of pops out. Generally, I like to keep the screws on the inside. It helps keep everything organized. And there we go. Complete. Ribbon cable. Those, if you're too anxious when you separate the two halves, is you can pull it out, which can also delodge the socket a little bit. So make sure you're very slow and meticulous with it, so therefore you don't dislodge that socket. I have actually had to do a repair where client actually did dislodge a socket and we had to replace the board because, well, that's micro soldering and I don't currently have the equipment to do micro soldering. So to save you a bit of money, take it from me, don't pull the halves apart very quickly. You want to be very slow and meticulous, so therefore you can disconnect that ribbon cable and continue on with your cleaning. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what you see, definitely put a like down and subscribe, and also put a thumbs up. It helps with YouTube getting this video out. This is one of my first repair videos that I've recorded in quite a long time. I hope to be recording some more. I'm probably going to be using this camera because it's a lot better video quality. But anyways, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.